This is Mon Health Talk, a weekly program focusing on the dedicated physicians, nurses, and staff at Mon Health, the region's premier community hospital system. People with skillful hands and bright minds using state-of-the-art technology. We don't just practice medicine, we care for people like family. That's why at Mon Health you can feel the difference. Once again, welcome to this edition of Mon Health Talk.
Good morning and welcome into the program. I'm Dave Wilson. Joining us this morning is Chris Hedio, disease management specialist. We're going to be talking about nutrition and healthy lifestyle habits, as March is National Nutrition Month. And Chris, a regular. I think you're a regular on the show by this point. Chris, good morning. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you, Dave?
Doing well. I know you've been on the show once or twice before, but that doesn't get you out of talking about yourself, at least for a minute or two this morning. So just remind folks about your background and how you started working with Mon Health.
Yeah, so Fairmont native, got my bachelor's at Fairmont State University, did my post-grad work in Atlanta, Georgia, worked around the country doing cardiac rehab and things like that, and then moved over to Mon Health, where I've been really happy with what I've been doing ever since.
All right, your title is disease management specialist. As with most titles, Chris, it sounds self-explanatory, but what does that entail exactly?
So I take a look at the individual as a whole. We work with medications, their dietary habits, exercise habits, and even stress management, and just try to build them a better lifestyle and better longevity all the way around.
How do you get into that field? What drew you to that specialty?
I've always enjoyed helping people. Actually started teaching group exercise classes and doing some personal training 23 years ago, so it's been a while. And I just really like making people feel better about themselves and their health in general.
And how do you take all that background, that training, and why did Mon Health, why was it the right fit for you professionally?
So when they say in, all of our information that we treat people like family, it's true. I mean, the way patients walk out of our facilities, smiles on their faces, are happy to be there. And we really do care about the patients wholeheartedly. And we really try to make them better, not just from the medical side, but everyday life.
All right. I mentioned March is Nutrition Month. So can you explain a little bit about what it means for nutrition when we say go beyond the table? What are we talking about?
So that's kind of a new initiative where they're looking at everything, not just what you're eating, but what goes into what you're eating, how you can make it better, growing your own things, buying from local farms, making sure that you're not eating so many processed foods.
And when we talk about nutrition, generally, I think about being back in school and we talk about, getting your vegetables, eating your fruits and vegetables, and, not so many of the cakes and pies, that sort of thing. But is nutrition more than just, as it would apply, go beyond the table? Is it more than just what we're having for dinner, breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Yeah, absolutely. It's everything that you're putting in your body. The snacks, even some of the, like if you're taking supplements and things like that, even some of those are very, very important to realize what it is that you're putting in your body. We really need to sit back as a society and think about those things and then try to make better choices all the way around.
I know every individual is different, so we got to talk in some broad strokes here, but generally speaking, a healthy diet, let's start there, Chris. A healthy diet consists of what?
The basis of everything that you should be doing is definitely fruits and vegetables. It's the most natural source of nutrients, vitamins, minerals, all of that you need. You want to make sure that you're getting the leaner sources of protein, lean chicken, lean steak, things like that. Beans are all good. And that leads me into carbohydrates, making sure that you're eating more complex carbohydrates, more whole grains, less of the fun stuff like the sugars and things like that, especially as we get closer to Easter.
All right, Chris, maybe you can settle this for me. Carbs, okay. Are they good or are they bad?
They are good, but you need to be mindful of the type. Your body does need them. Case in point, your brain functions on primarily carbohydrates. So if you've ever seen somebody go on a keto diet, they get the brain fog that comes with it because their brain has to reset. But you want to make sure that you're getting, like I said, whole grains. Try to get more of your natural sugars out of your fruits, more nutrients and fiber, which is always good for your heart and your body.
So if you're having a sweet craving, better to reach for that orange or clementine or peach rather than reach for the candy bars. That's what you're telling me, Chris.
Right. That goes back to the apple a day keeps the doctor away. I guess in some sense that's true.
Talking to Chris Hedio, disease management specialist. March is National Nutrition Month. We're talking nutrition and healthy lifestyle habits. So with the basis of a nutritional diet, let's go beyond the table then, Chris. What else do we need to factor into that healthy diet, healthy lifestyle choices?
Exercise, making sure that you are physically active. Even though that your dietary habits make up a lot of what you do, the biggest percentage of how your body is going to adjust to it and what it's going to be capable of, you still have to be moving. And it can really be anything. Walking, as I've said many times before, is the cheapest and easiest thing you can do. So if you're starting out, just getting out and getting a walk on a beautiful day like we're about to have is amazing for your body. I've
heard, again, untrained opinions here, Chris. I throw them out there and I'll let you all shoot them down or tell me that I'm onto something. I've heard having a pet helps with that, having a dog that will kind of force you to – the dog wants to go for a walk every day. That is a helpful motivational tool. Now, of course, not pets are not for everybody, but do you see that? Is that something you see?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great place to start. And you're right, Dave. The dogs will want you to get out and do things with them. They'll want you to play. And, of course, the more active you are with them is amazing. You can get out and, as you see on a lot of shows and things, passing Frisbee and passing ball with your dog is really, really nice. I can't attest to that. I'm a cat dad. I have 4 cats, so they're not extremely active.
They're not wanting to go for walks and go out and play with a Frisbee, huh?
No, not at all.
Chris Hedio joining us this morning. So with healthy lifestyle habits, diet, exercise, how does that factor into disease management?
So you will decrease a lot of chances of getting certain diseases, metabolic diseases like diabetes, reduction in the risk of heart disease, even certain forms of cancer. Just getting your body to perspire a little bit, just sweat, will get out a lot of toxins. It's good for your cholesterol profile. Even allowing your liver to create more good cholesterol as opposed to bad cholesterol. So, exercise factors into that on the disease side. Same thing with nutrition. The more the proper nutrients that you're getting, less of the toxins, less of the processed foods, the less likely you are to have a lot of those diseases and propensity towards that kind of thing.
What about when it comes to mental health? Do eating a balanced diet, nutritional diet, getting out exercising, getting out moving around, does that also help improve? Can it help improve your mental health as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So, plenty of foods that you eat, especially sugary carbohydrates, release a response in your brain just like you were as if you're having an exciting moment, those feel-good chemicals, those endorphins. The problem is we become reliant on that over time. So not only does your body adjust to wanting the sugar, your brain does as well. But, figuring out the better things to eat, you're less likely to have that. And then, like you said, getting out and exercising also releases those chemicals. So you feel good when you're done, like you hear about the runner's high.
I don't believe in that. I've got a family. My sister is a runner. My brother-in-law is a world-class runner. They tell me about it all the time. I don't believe them, Chris, but I've heard about that. Supposedly it exists.
My wife would agree with you, and I would agree with your sister and your brother-in-law.
Chris Hedio is joining us. He's disease management specialist at Mon Health. We're talking about nutrition and healthy lifestyle habits. March is National Nutrition Month. Got to take a quick break. We'll continue the conversation right after this. You're listening to Mon Health Talk on WAJR.
Now back to Mon Health Talk, a discussion of the issues, people, and procedures in healthcare today. If you have a question for one of our healthcare guests, call now at 304-296-0041.
Chris Hedio is our guest this morning, disease management specialist at Mon Health. We're talking nutrition and healthy lifestyle habits. March is National Nutrition Month. All right, Chris, I'm gonna toss out an excuse. Maybe you can debunk the claim or give us some tips on how to get around these. Okay,
Okay.
I want to eat a good diet. I want to eat nutritional food. I don't have time to prepare dinner every night, or I don't have time, Chris, to go to the farmer's market on Saturday. I'm sure you've heard this before. How do I remedy that?
So I actually have heard this many, many times, and there is time. It's just finding the right time. So one thing I always suggest is meal prepping. I like to do it myself on Sundays and Wednesdays. I make a few meals throughout the week so that I have them available, and all I have to do is stick them in the microwave. Try to lean more to the nutritious things, and I'm less likely to grab something while I'm out. I have a pretty busy lifestyle of my own, so definitely having things on hand like that is a lot easier than running to McDonald's or anything like that. And yeah, you don't really get bored, and it really doesn't start to taste bad if you meal prep a couple times a week, as opposed to a lot of people who just do it one day, say a Sunday, and then by Friday their food, they're like, oh, I can't heat this up again. It just doesn't taste good.
What are good snacks, by the way, for people on the go? You want to grab, rather than grabbing fast food or stopping at the convenience store and getting a sandwich or something, what are some good snacks that you can, easy to pack, easy to take with you on the go?
One that I like to suggest for most people is mixed nuts, things like that. Definitely, the unsalted if you can, dry roasted or something like that. And I know everybody's taste is different, but it's loaded with protein, healthy fats that your body needs, and a handful of those can go a long way. It can kind of get you over the hump until the next meal. Another one is just having some fruits and vegetables and something that will keep. Grapes are always a good idea. An apple, things that have a nice skin on it. I don't recommend trying to keep bananas very long because they don't last, especially if you leave them in your hot car.
Yeah, that can turn ugly. That can turn ugly quick.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you've heard this before, Chris. I just don't like vegetables.
Yeah. I've heard that one before, and you can make them taste amazing. Another thing that I've thrown out there is there are tons of books and recipes out there specifically for kids where you can mix the vegetables into like a muffin or a brownie or cookies, and they don't know they're in there. It also works on adults, contrary to popular opinion. You can. One thing I absolutely love myself is black bean brownies. They taste amazing, and you can't tell the difference. I sneak those in on my kids, and they have no idea to this day. I hope they're not listening right now.
Chris, is it a mistake when people decide, okay, I'm going to improve my diet, and they go, I don't know if cold turkey is the right term, but they go they go to the extreme. They say, all right, I'm not going to have any more sweets. I'm going to cut out all the things that I like, pizza, cakes, pies, hamburger. I'm going to cut all that out. I'm going to go strictly 100% healthy. That seems like a recipe, no pun intended, a recipe for disaster.
It is, and if someone actually does have the willpower out there, I applaud them. I don't, so it doesn't work that way. It's best to reduce the portions, try to eat healthy the majority of the time, and if you want to go out and have a couple slices of pizza or a good burger, have it and enjoy it, and then get back on the wagon. You're right, Dave, in saying that people that decide, I'm only going to eat this and none of these things, you are definitely 100% of the time going to fail. And when you fail hard.
Can the same thing be said for exercise programs as well? You start in and you decide you still think you're 20 years old and you can go do a 2-hour workout like you're training to play Division I football, and 3 weeks into it, you fall out of the program. Do the same mistakes there as well?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. When I was working primarily in the fitness industry, you'd see that January people would come in, they would go hardcore with their workouts, trying to lose a bunch, as much weight as possible. And then suddenly by March 1st, you didn't see those people anymore. And you have to start slow. Start with something that your body's capable of. Don't jump right back into a program if you've been on a layoff or if you're new to fitness. A lot of times you'll see things on TV or on the internet. You're like, hey, I can do that. Make sure that there's a modification and make sure that you are fully capable of doing what you're attempting to do.
Is it best to like you said, walking is free. Everybody can go for a walk. But if you want to start an exercise program, is it best to actually work with a trainer, join a gym, somebody who can kind of guide you?
Yeah, absolutely. I highly recommend it, specifically if you're new to fitness, because there are things that, like I've said, you may see and say, I want to try that. But without proper form, knowing how your body mechanics work and things like that, you do run the risk of injury, significant injury, or even overtraining yourself or particular muscle groups. So I do recommend meeting with a fitness professional, if it's something you have the means to do.
When we talk about regular exercise, is there a definition for that?
Yeah, absolutely. The American College of Sports Medicine, the American Heart Association, and other associations, they all recommend that you exercise at least 150 minutes a week, which is about 30 minutes or so, 5 days a week. We always say most days is fine. And then one thing that we do say is it doesn't have to be ultra intense, hard, heavy breathing, sweating profusely exercise. Just getting out there, getting your breathing up a little bit, maybe get a little bit of a sweat going, but you know that you're doing something. You're getting your heart rate up is just as good.
Talking to Chris Hedio this morning, disease management specialist with Mon Health, talking about nutrition and healthy lifestyle habits. So let's say a patient comes in, has a procedure done, has to have treatment for one thing or another. How does this also then play a role in the recovery process after, seeing one of the other fine physicians and practitioners there at Mon Health?
Well, you definitely have to think of nutrition as medicine. The healthier you eat, the more of the right types of foods, the better your body is going to do. A lot of times after surgery, the surgeon will express the need for protein in your diet so that the healing process goes a little bit easier depending on what you have. So from my standpoint, I would suggest, getting a little more of the healthier proteins. A couple eggs is fine. Leaner cuts of meat like sirloin or round steak, 93% or better ground beef. Just trying to get that up. Now, there are recommendations on the maximum you should have, and in all honesty, most people don't get close to that. So increasing that a little bit would be helpful. And, of course, fruits and vegetables and things of that nature as well.
And, Chris, in the long term, we all want to live long, healthy lives, but also when we start to get, you retire, you want to live on your own. You don't want to have to depend on your kids to take care of you or depend on somebody to get you out of the chair and get you to point A and B. And if you have had that healthy diet or nutritious diet, exercise along the way, it's going to pay off in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing I tell a lot of my patients. Keep moving. Don't stop. Practice makes perfect. And if you don't use it, you lose it. And it's honestly true. So like you said about getting up and down out of a chair, just practicing that on a daily instead of, sitting in the chair for hours on end, kind of sit up or stand up and sit down, move around more, work on your balance. We lose that pretty quickly as we age, which is unfortunate. So you're less likely to stumble and fall, and that's always helpful.
Chris Hedio, our guest this morning, disease management specialist. March is National Nutrition Month, and you can always get more information by going on the website, monhealth.com, to learn more there. Chris, if someone wants to get a hold of you, can they reach out to you? How would they get in touch?
Yeah, absolutely. They could come to or go to monhealth.com/heart, and they'd be able to find my service on there. Or they could call the Heart and Vascular Clinic, 599-8802, and ask for me. Otherwise, just ask their primary care physician or a specialist if they could see me, and they could send me an order.
Chris, always enjoy the conversation. Chris Hedio, disease management specialist at Mon Health, and, of course, more information at monhealth.com. Chris, thank you very much, and we'll talk again soon.
Yep, thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Coming up, we've got the top of the hour. That means a local news update plus your national headlines with Fox News. And Jeff Nordine will have the Metro News AccuWeather forecast. That'll all prime you for the talk of the town coming up at 9:06. We got a lot of basketball to talk about. New basketball coach for the men's program, the women's program getting ready to take on the biggest star in college basketball right now. In basketball, period. We'll talk about it all coming up.